Welcome back to May Influence You. I'm Leanne May, your host, and here today is Taylor Paul.
Hi, guys.
Are you aware that there's 46 Americans that struggle with a substance abuse? To
46?
46 million.
Oh, okay.
Did I not say the million?
I just had to make sure you got the million.
That is such a huge number.
That's crazy.
A lot of drugs and a lot of people.
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah.
And I have our special guest here, Dakota.
I don't know about special, but hi everybody.
So tell us a little bit about who you are, Dakota. Who is Dakota Mortensen?
Well, I am 30 years old. I'm from Idaho originally. So I was born and raised in Idaho from a small town called Middleton, which it was pretty much just the country, like farm community. I have 5 other siblings. I come from a really good family. Grew up Mormon my whole life. Honestly, I couldn't ask for a better family. Come from like a great family. And grew up on a farm. So my parents raised like 70,000 pheasants a year.
Wow.
So if you don't know what a pheasant is, that's a bird. So it's a type of bird.
Was there a lot of crap everywhere?
Yeah. It's a lot of work. Like, it was like a big thing. It's all we did. I mean, that's what I grew up doing my whole life, is pretty much working on a farm. So,
So you're a hardworking guy.
Yeah, it was good. It like taught me how to work hard, like especially when I was like in high school and stuff, because I was like playing tons of sports. So anytime that I was just like doing sports constantly, and then like all of a sudden something would happen, because you're dealing with like livelihood, right? So it's like at any second something can go wrong. My dad would like wake us up at like 3 in the morning, 4 in the morning, be like, hey, we have to go down and like clean out a barn or something. And we would have to just like shovel out an entire barn because it like leaked or something happened. So it was good though. I like loved it. It was cool growing up on a farm. But yeah, so I had like a good childhood, honestly. I couldn't really complain about how I grew up.
Well, that's great.
Yeah.
I know that they say, I think there's some people that think just because you grow up in like a great family, you were born and raised with a mom and dad in the home, that people don't do drugs.
Right.
And so tell us a little bit of how your drug addiction started.
Yeah. Okay, yeah. So that is a good question though, actually, because I kind of thought the exact same thing. Even when I went to my first rehab, I remember having that same thought, like, I got to be so different. Like, because, like, I don't have, like, I always just thought, like, drug addicts were people that came from, like, just really, like, rough styles of life. But I soon realized, like, right away when I was in rehab, that there was every single walk of life, like, people were struggling with addiction. I mean, I had, like, doctors in there. I had nurses, business owners, like, very successful people that were like using gnarly drugs, like, and it wasn't just like chill drugs, like it was gnarly drugs.
All walks of life.
Oh yeah, all walks of life. And I think that's when I realized just how like addiction is just rampant, like it's just crazy. And I think the big thing I learned was that there's more people that struggle with it than I think people even realize too, right? Like there's a lot of people that I would never think are using drugs, that are using like, whatever it is, cocaine all the time, just like constantly using something. So that was very eye-opening as well. Mm-hmm. But I don't even know if I answered your question. What was your question?
No.
How did you get started into it?
Like, how old were you? Where did you start?
So I started when I want to say it was anywhere from 17 to 18. I know it was like my senior year in high school, and I was a huge basketball like junkie. We'll use that term right now. So that's all I did was just play basketball 24/7. I was like just a jock, and I worked so hard at that. Like I had like plans. I was going to go to college, all this. I had like scholarships and stuff, and I had really bad knees. So eventually I had a kid that I was at practice and I was just getting a drink, and he just went to my school, and he was like just like a kid that I knew I talked to. He was just like friends with me, and I was just like complaining about my knees, and he was like, "Oh, dude, here, have some of these. These are pain pills." And I didn't even know what pain pills were. Like, I had no idea what they were. I just didn't really think much of it because he just said like it will just help with your pain. I was like, okay, cool. So I took them and I went back and I practiced, and I remember it was just like the best my knees have ever felt. I thought it was like a miracle drug, honestly. Like I was so confused. I was like, that was the best thing I've ever had in my life. So right after practice, I texted him and was like, hey, whatever those were, I need as many of those as I can get. Yeah, because I just was like, dude, they were so good. Like, I didn't feel high either because I was like probably like exercising too, like I was running, so I wasn't really able to feel like a high with it.
You just felt better.
Yeah, my pain was just gone.
Yeah.
And the crazy thing is like, I'm so dumb. Like, I went with him to go get more. He's like, I have a friend that had surgery, and that's like how you get them. And right away, the kid's like, by the way, you can also snort them, and it works better. Like, it works faster. And like, so this is the second time I've ever used pills in my life, and I snorted the second time.
Oh, wow.
And so that's like a big jump. Like, because when you start snorting things, like, the addiction of just that alone is like it's just so, I don't know, there's something about it. And I remember as I was driving home, that's where I felt the high for once. And when I felt that feeling, I honestly remember thinking to myself, when I was driving home, I was like, this is the best feeling I've ever had in my life. I want this always. Like, and I remember like I think it was just something, like I feel like I've always had maybe something in me, but like I just felt like I would have always maybe had some form of a struggle with this at some point in my life because it was just so much my personality. Like I was like one of those people that was very happy, outgoing, but like on the inside, I felt like I struggled, like, and I never showed that. Yeah.
Wow. That's hard to hear.
Yeah. See, like,
sad. Like if you think about it,
That is sad. Yeah. Because I think when people think of, or when I think of somebody who does drugs, I think of somebody that's like neglected.
Yeah.
Somebody who's left out, maybe like some kid that is very lonely, and they resort to that because they want to feel something. And I think, or feel nothing, or, they do it because of peer pressure, because they want to be a part of something. But when you look at, like a jock kid, good looking kid going to school, that has a lot going for you, but nobody knows what that person is dealing with inside at that time, and what makes them decide that, hey, I want to snort a little bit of pain pills, or, something like that.
Yeah.
And I think it's hard too because like you said, it's more like a personality type. I think someone could have been in that position and been fine, but just not progress. But because that's your personality, you have addictive personality, you know that now.
Yeah.
Is where you didn't know that. So it's kind of scary with anyone.
It is. I mean, that's why I'm a huge preacher, just to like never really dabble in anything.
Sure.
Because it very much is just like people are just so different. And I mean, that's all it takes is just for like one of them, like, and everybody's different, but some people just have that in them, and I'm that person. Like that's just who I am. I do something, I'm like 100% doing it to where it will like ruin my life, essentially. Like I can't just do things like
that could be used for good though.
Yeah, and it can be exactly, and it can be used for good. And there's tons of super successful like recovering addicts and alcoholics out there that have done like amazing things.
Sure.
So,
did you know there's only 10% of people are born with an addictive personality, or addiction?
That's great.
Yes, and others it like factors in like everything else, but there's such a small amount of people. You would think it would be a bigger number because of the people that do it, but there's all kinds of other reasons why people end up resorting to that.
Yes.
I didn't know
There's definitely like if there was no like pro to it, like nobody would do it. Like there's reasons why people are doing it.
Oh, sure.
And so
I guess when you started with pain pills, like what was your next like drug from there, and how did your parents not know that you were doing drugs?
Oh, what's crazy is the first time I ever smoked weed, I got caught ever in my life, which is wild. Like, what the heck? But I look at it now, and when I like look back on that, I always tell myself it was the greatest blessing for me, because right out the gate, when I started dabbling with anything, my parents knew right away. And I thought that was like so cool, because not then.
Yes,
I think
of
it's
course.
cool now, but because they were constantly like on high alert with me always after that. And so I was like, wait, sorry, what did you ask me again? Just like what was
your next drug like after?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
So it was pain pills, and so with pain pills, it ranges with how bad you can get with pain pills in my eyes. Like, there's like the hydros and like these different lower class of pain pills that I was in there for like a while, and then where it completely destroyed my life was when you start getting to like the high milligram oxys and stuff, right? Like, and once I started like dabbling up with like up there is when I noticed a really drastic downfall in my life. And then from there, it went to smoking them. Like, then you could smoke them off like tinfoil. And when I went from that switch over was massive. Like, I could remember feeling like a shift every time I would do that. Like, from when I went to like using really like high, like strong milligrams of oxys, and then to smoking it. And then eventually, you know, it turns to heroin, which is like super common. Like, I know it sounds so sketchy, but like people that are using pain pills and get really addicted to them switching over to heroin is not like a crazy thing. The highs are very similar. Heroin's cheaper, and usually doctors will eventually cut people off that were having them. So when you become so dependent in your body and you're having these withdrawals, like that's why so many people turn to heroin. And that's why it's like so scary, is because it really is just like one of those things that, I don't know, it's like almost a double-edged sword, because it's like some people need it, they're in a lot of pain, but it's also can be like the worst thing ever, because when you try to get off of it, they're starting to turn to anything they can to get that fix.
Was it something that you used on a daily basis, weekly, monthly? How
Every
was
day.
it? Every day?
Yeah.
And how did you pay for it?
I worked.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I was like the one thing
That kept you,
I wasn't
working.
like that. Like, I was like a full blown junkie, but I mean, like, I knew that I like had to still, and it was probably because of also how I grew up. Like, I did feel like I wasn't like trashy, I guess, in that way. So like, I always made sure I looked clean still, as clean as I could. Like, I looked proper. I looked like I had like things going for me still. But I was also living like this completely different life, like on the other side. And it was like really sad.
Sure.
Because it was just this like very dark, evil, weird side that I was just like living like
You're
every
just living
single day.
a lie.
Yeah, just living a lie every day.
Wow. So when did your parents really see that you were doing drugs, and what did they do about it?
I think, my parents just like at first, probably like a lot of parents, I don't think they knew how to handle it. Like, I don't think they understood it at all, right? Like, and that's like a big thing too, is like just a lot of people don't understand addiction. It's like very confusing. It's a confusing thing. Like, and not only for like the families, but like also for the addict. Like, it was confusing for me. I didn't understand it. I didn't know what was going on. Mm-hmm. Like, I just knew I couldn't stop. I loved the feeling it was giving me. And that's like about it. And then, but like my parents caught me, and I think they just like yelled at me a bunch at first. And then
did they know how serious it was?
I think they started to see how bad it was when they were like, I would like leave pills in my pockets and like baggies and stuff, and they were like finding them. And then, it just like got to a point where, and then I overdosed and almost died. And I think from that point, when I almost died is when I think they were very like, oh, like, yeah, he's like really struggling. Like, we're going to lose him. And that was where I think it just made like a big shift. Mm-hmm.
How old were you at this point?
I think I was, I think I had to have been 18 years old. Yeah, I think I just graduated from high school. And I took like, I was on like tons of pain pills. And then I did, oh my gosh, what else did I do? I can't even think right now. I did something else too, and then I drank like 2 bottles of Robitussin.
Oh my gosh.
And they call it like robo tripping, and that was like I was just dying. Like it was so gnarly, and I got rushed to the hospital, and my parents took me. And yeah, that was like so weird. And and just to show you the power of addiction, like the next day I like almost die. I like wake up, I feel so awful. And I was like, this will be the time that I change. Like I could feel it. That day I used.
Oh, wow.
The next day I used. And it's like, like I remember thinking that was weird for me. Like I was like, what is going on? I was like, I don't think I'll ever be able to stop this. Like I don't think I can ever quit. Because it was just, I don't know. It's just like
so
wild.
Controlling. Is it?
It is.
Is it because you crave that addiction, or did you crave the high? Like,
I think for me it was more. I think it dealt with more internal things for me. I think I think I've always been a very emotional person, like my whole life. I think I've like felt things on a very deep level. Things have affected me a lot. And I think it was a way for me to escape and like just not care about people, because caring, I feel like, hurts.
yeah, it does.
And it's like good, but it's like it's the right thing to do, but it's like it's also can be very painful. And I think I just hated how I was feeling on the inside, and I enjoyed not caring. There's like something very freeing about that. Of just like just being like, I don't care if you're hurt, if people like it was just almost like you're free. Like
it's selfish.
Yes,
but
selfish,
like
very selfish. Yes,
because I'm sure throughout this you were hurting your family,
and my gosh.
You know, and sometimes that's the question that I think people ask, or what I would wonder is like, how can you keep doing this knowing the effects that you have on your loved ones? And just like you said, I guess, like you didn't care. You felt...
Yeah, well, I shouldn't say that, because it's like my family I did care about. Like, that was the one thing I cared about. And I remember there was many times where I would just be like I would say, like, stop caring for me. It would hurt me that they cared. Like, I was so tapped out, and just like I felt like this is just how I was gonna go out anyways. Like I was just like it hurt me more to see that they had hope in me, and that they were like still trying for me and fighting for me all the time.
Because you didn't have hope for yourself.
Yeah, I had zero hope in myself. I was like, it's over. Like this is like how it goes for me. Like this is just what I'm gonna do. And they never gave up on me. And like
oh wow,
They're really
it's
good people. Yeah.
they're good people. And parents, now that you're going to have a baby, you're going to realize the pain that your kids will bring you.
Oh gosh.
But also at the same time, you're going to feel the happiness. Like it's crazy that you will be hurt by them the most, and also they will give you like the most gratification and love, and that feeling that you've never felt. It is crazy, but that's awesome that your parents didn't give up on you. And I know as a parent myself, like I wouldn't give up on my kids either. Yeah. And so that's awesome.
Yeah.
I appreciate you coming on here, and I know that has to be hard to tell us, about your history and about, I'm sure that brings up a lot of emotions, obviously. And if somebody is struggling out there like today that's maybe watching this podcast, what would you tell them? Like if they felt like how you did, like, I'm not gonna. Yeah,
a big thing. I even try to like preach this if I can, even on TikTok sometimes, but it's like when you're in that cycle, it's so hard. Like you just feel like there's no way out. It feels like you're just trapped. And not only that, but it's a very negative cycle. You're constantly like you hate yourself. It's like this like internal of just like you feel so worthless to yourself. And it's like you just keep living this way forever and ever and ever. And it feels like it never changes. The only reason why now I have a lot more clarity with that is because like I had 5 years clean before I relapsed at one point. So
Which is amazing.
So I got to see very much like completely like addicted to heroin and fentanyl and stuff. And then like this sober, doing so good, like thriving in my life as far as just like enjoying life again and like seeing how great things are. And it was just this. And then so when I did go back, I was able to see very quickly how much it was all just a facade. Like everything was fake when you start using drugs. Like it changes your brain chemistry and your wiring so fast that you go straight into the exact same thoughts of being like, I'm worthless. Like there's nothing I can do. Like this is just like what it is for me. But it's not true. Like there's hope. Like, do people get sober all the time? You can do it. It's the hardest thing I've ever done in my life. I don't think it's easy, and I'm going to be just straight up honest. I don't think it's easy at all. But it is 10 times better than that lifestyle ever will be. And I would say the parts that are the hardest when you get sober are you're playing catch up. You get really far behind. And so it's like, that's how I felt. I remember feeling that way. But it also gives you a different, way you view life as well. It's like, for me to be here is a miracle. So it's also hard to be like hard on myself. God, dude. Mm-hmm. It's just like, it's hard to be hard on yourself constantly for other things because it's like, in the sense, it's like, I'm alive. Like, this is cool.
That's amazing.
Like, I just love being alive. I love being happy. I like just trying to enjoy my life. And so it is hard sometimes when you're seeing people that are, farther ahead in you in other ways. But it's like this, it's just like, I don't know. It's just, you have to like just really tell yourself that
you're worth it.
Yes.
You're worth it.
You're worth it, and that like you can do it. Like anybody can do it, and you can have like an amazing life, and to not like, be hard on yourself. Like just like keep going in a direction, and like I feel like anything you do sober is going to be 10 times better than if you're using. So.
Sure.
And
try to not compare or measure yourself to everyone else because we're all on different paths.
Right. Absolutely.
We're all on different levels. I mean, it could be for all different reasons, but you are worth it.
Thank you.
I think you're an incredible guy.
I appreciate
that. Getting to know you within the last year, you're an amazing person, and I think that your story can help out a lot of people. And maybe this was part of the plan to maybe have to go through it, experience it, and to be able to help somebody else that is watching. It could be the worst, but also the best thing.
Yes.
Too.
Yeah, and I would say that's how it's been for me. It was the hardest thing in my life, but it was the biggest blessing in my life as well. It's like, for one, like just not giving up on people. Even like it's really made me want to fight for people and like know that like people can be in really low places, and like in rehabs, like I saw it all the time. People that were literally broken, had nothing, literally rock bottom, come climbing out of that and like thrive in life. And when you see that, I mean, everybody has it in them. So it's just a matter of if they're willing to like, put in the work and do something about it. But everybody has it in them.
So would you say like the mindset, like what made you decide, you know what, I'm not going to do it today. I just am not. What was that? Like, what was the turning point?
The turning point for me was when I was married at one point, so I was divorced. But she walked in on me using, and so she left me. And I remember right after that, I was going to kill myself. I wanted to overdose and die, and I had it like all planned out. And then I remember I had a cousin that I've like never talked to in my life. Like he was a junkie for like 30 years too. Like, and he randomly shot me a text. I didn't know how he got my number. He shot me a text, and it was like a scripture verse. And I was like, who is this? And he was like, it's Kelly, your cousin. And I immediately, like, I don't know why, but I just was like, maybe I'll just call him, because I knew he's like been through this. And I called him and he's like, dude, I work at a rehab. I'm going to come pick you up in 3 days and I can get you in for free and I'm going to take care of you. Oh, wow. And it was like the biggest miracle of my life. I was not religious. I didn't even really think I believed in God even at that point. Then from there, when I went to rehab, I went through awful withdrawals. And I told myself that I would turn my life to God. And if God let me down this time, that I'm doing it. Like, I'm not going to wait anymore. I'm going to kill myself. I can't handle the pain I'm feeling right now. And dude, I like devoted my life to God there. And it was the craziest experience I've ever experienced. Like, it was just so wild. He was like, I've never had more like spiritual experiences. And, yeah, it was just so cool for me to witness that. And like, and that's why I say, even at this point, it's like, I'm probably not the best person, but the one thing I'll say is like, I will never deny God now. Like, I can't. Like, the stuff I've seen him do for me, was like just insane.
That's amazing.
Yeah, it was just so cool. Like, it completely shifted my whole life. Like, when I did that, and yeah,
that's powerful.
It was cool. It was really. I had really cool experiences, and I just felt very in tune with him, and just like, yeah, it was wild. And it was the worst moment of my life, and then very soon it became one of the happiest moments of my life. I felt more happy than I've ever felt in my life, and I thought that was wild. I was like, how is this even possible?
Wow.
Yeah,
that's amazing.
Yeah, and that's the thing, just real quick, like, the reason why rehabs are so cool is because of that. Like, rehab, like, when you go to rehab, you take, like, 4 or 5, like, one of them I was, like, 8 months, like, you take all your time out of your life, and because you have to, because you're, like, going to die or you're going to lose everything, so it's, like, and you go and, like, check yourself in, and all it is internal work. You just, like, learn about yourself the whole time, and like how you function and tick, and like all your issues. And it's like the coolest experience ever to do that. And like, nobody really gets to do that ever in their life. So like, in a way,
we should all go
it's
rehab,
like
even if we don't have a problem.
It's like a massive blessing. Like it's so cool. You just sit there and learn about yourself, and just, I don't know, it's really cool. I loved rehab too. I don't know if a lot of people feel that way, but I love rehab.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Well, maybe that's your calling in life. You need to go start your own rehab.
Yeah.
Help other people.
Mm-hmm.
Well, as a witness, I feel like to his family, it's really cool to see how much they care. And being your girlfriend and stuff, they're very, like, check with me, too. It's really, like, how's he doing? Like, any signs, like, anything. And they're like, we're kind of a team as well to, like, watch over you, because his parents don't tolerate shit. Your girlfriend ain't going to tolerate shit. So,
we all know you don't tolerate shit.
And I don't either. Just kidding.
So it's really good to, like, I'm sure that's hard for you.
Like, you care.
But, like, at the end of the day, it's people that care about you. And
yeah, it is. It is sometimes hard. You feel weird. Like, you feel like you have, like, a disease, honestly. Like,
well, addiction is.
I know, exactly.
It is a disease.
And so it is sometimes, like, really challenging. Like, even now doing, like, TikTok, like, really, like, especially dating you, it's like I get, like, way more backlash and, like, different things. And it's like, it's like a lot of times, like, people think, like, addicts aren't humans. Like, honestly, like, that's how, like, people, like, talk about it, as if, like, he was a junkie, like, he was using drugs. It's like, yeah, no shit. But, like, what do you think, that I can't, like, have a normal life? Like, do you think people that are, like, have used drugs and, like, can't live a good life and, like, and have all these amazing things? Like, I'm not able to have or obtain a future because of my past.
Like, you're a loser.
Yes, and that's it. And that's why I'm saying it is so hard. Like, being a recovering addict is so hard and draining, because not only is it's like I'm dealing with so much up here constantly, I'm always fighting it. It's like you have cravings, you have these thoughts all the time. But then on top of it, like, there's just people in general. Like if someone
label you.
Yes, label you or have these things, or, you know, and even if they're not in good intentions even, right? But it's like still it hurts sometimes. Like when you have your family that's like, got to check on them. Like, why? Well, because, dude, like if you, like, it makes sense.
It's because they care about you,
Yes.
and they only want the best for you. So
Yeah.
they're going to.
Yeah.
I mean, I remember when Taylor started dating you, and she was like, I met this great guy, you know, telling me about you and everything. But she was like, but I have to let you know, he's a recovering drug addict. And the first thing was like, well,
Right.
like, well, what kind of drug?
Yeah.
Like, what kind of drugs? Like, you know, and
But I
she's
think
like,
I mean, and as you should. Yes,
Yes.
as you should. Like, and that's what I'm saying. But that's why I'm saying it's hard. Is because it is. It's like this very, like, yeah, it's just hard because you have to be that way. But at the same time, like, for us, it's like we're so hard on ourselves already. Like, we just beat ourselves up constantly.
yes.
And then it's like this, like, just little things that can really hurt, you know, our feelings, especially when we get sober.
Sure.
We're, like, very emotional when we get sober. And so it's like these little things of like, oh, like it just like, I don't know, it just like hurts sometimes.
Yeah.
Really bad.
And I think because
Makes
people
you feel very little. And
it's just that people don't understand like the level of it, and also
Yes.
it goes both ways. Like,
Right.
yeah, like I wouldn't think that would hurt, but then
Yeah.
you know, but
you
but
have
now I
to.
know. Yeah,
But,
so it's
but
like
you have to. And I'm saying
but-
like, yeah, and there's nothing wrong with it. It's
Yeah.
like, good. You should be concerned, as
Yeah.
anyone should be. I would be the same way.
yeah.
Like if with my boy, or like, you know, or something
Sure.
like, or let's say if it was a girl, like if,
Or even a different
Just in-
scenario.
well,
Your
just even-
parents, I'm sure were scared that you were dating me. Like,
yeah.
Yeah, it's-
not in an addict sense, but like
Right.
my shit. you
Yeah,
know?
yeah. No, that's true.
I think it's just every parent wants the best.
Well,
so-
and just especially that, and when Taylor, you already had 2 kids, you know, so it's like
Yeah.
you're going to be a crucial part of their
Yes.
lives, and so that was always
and I kind of told him that I was like, it's not just me. Like if you know anything ever happened, yes, I want to be by your side and help you, but I also have to like think about my kids, and like let's just say hypothetically you were to like, you know, relapse. Like I just couldn't do that to my kids, and so
Yeah.
I'd have to like just you know draw that boundary and not have that in my life. Not saying that you ever would, but like it's something you have to think about.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, and you know, and I can't sit here and tell you like I'm never going to use again for the rest of my life. Like I just can't. I can't promise anyone that. Like all I can do is like, yep, today. I'm not going to use today.
Yeah.
Like I know that for sure.
yeah.
And so I think that's why it's like it's really hard. And you can't like future trip because like I'll do that sometimes. I'll be like, oh, I'll never use again. And like I used to do that all the time, and I think that was way more unhealthy for me.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sure.
So yeah, it was just too much.
No, but I think there is like it's good to know the consequences if you like you do like that's things I have to think about for myself.
Yeah.
Like things I've messed up on, and if I do it again, I could potentially lose my kids.
Yeah.
And things like that, and that's something you're gonna probably have to think about as well.
Yeah.
And it's just like kind of motivation in a way
No,
too.
absolutely.
Motivation, set your mind, like,
Well,
you know, these are the things that I have to do. Like,
Yeah.
you know, it's
And a
just
big
something-
sense of like purpose too. which
Yeah, like
I love.
I can do this. Like I have a choice, but do I
Yeah.
want to lose my family and my kids? Is
Yeah.
kind of like
Yeah, and I remember when I dated her, I was like very nervous of that to date her. Like it scared me. It was like I knew it was a big commitment for me, and I mean, I already struggled with commitment at that time. So I was like, oh my gosh, this is a lot. Like I would have to like commit to like 2 kids. Like I was hardly taking care of myself. Like, you
Now,
know what
yeah,
I'm saying?
now
It's
you
like
have
you go
these 2
so
little-
long just being single and stuff, and it's like it's a different world. Like
Yeah.
it just is, and like people that have been single for a long time will understand. It's like you could just get so comfortable, like just not having to really care about.
Yeah, being a
much.
bachelor, doing
just,
whatever
like,
you
kinda
want.
Just like as
Just
long as
take
I'm
care of-
okay, I'm okay. Like
yeah.
and so, but I love that. I've always loved kids. I've always loved children. Like I've always wanted to be a father, like more than anything in the world. And so,
you also like to be told what to do. He needs a girl that like really like calls him
Well,
out
yeah.
on his shit. and,
Like
I do,
Taylor?
yes. Like I can't have like a girl that I could like walk all over, and and it's not like that I'd want to. It's more like I think I would just do it without even knowing. You know what I'm saying? Like,
well, most guys would.
yeah, I guess
Like
maybe
a
you're
passive girl, like they're gonna do whatever they want, and you're not gonna
Yeah.
do anything.
And so like I like Taylor because Taylor like immediately I could tell would like call me out on stuff, like little things where I was like, was like, whoa, like, why are you calling me out on that?
Yeah.
But like, and then I was like thinking about it, I was like, yeah, actually that's good. Like I need that. Like I need someone to like be like, like no.
Yeah.
Like, and so.
To a
point.
Almost like I feel like
Yeah.
I'm very like, well, why are you doing that? What's that for? Like I'm very curious. Like he won't get away with anything with me.
Yeah.
As much as he will. I mean, he's going to hate that later in life. Like anything.
Dude, she always says that. I'm
Not
like,
even
why?
anything bad, but just like
No, I
things
know.
like I'm
Yeah,
just going to
yeah,
know.
that's true.
Like
Yeah.
I am not.
Yeah, like,
You're just not oblivious.
Like,
Yeah. There are.
know.
Yeah.
And you're going to be called out for it. And that's okay. And you're that way with me too. Like,
yeah.
you're very.
Yeah, well, because we're both self-aware in like, probably like in all the bad ways, but which is good. Like we're just very like self-aware of like knowing things that can happen and how like, I don't know. So
It's
we
good
can,
to be aware. It's
Yes,
good to
very
have
aware.
that out and know where your
Yeah.
boundaries are and what you can do and what you can't do. And
Yeah.
I
So
think
makes good.
it could be healthy.
Yeah.
Well, I appreciate you coming on today. We're just going to end. I'm going to link or have on my bottom of YouTube description to call. There's a 1-800 number if you are struggling with any kind of drug abuse. Call that hotline. They'll be able to help you. I hope this episode helped you in some way. And please comment, like, and subscribe to YouTube, Spotify, and other streaming websites. Have a great day.
Nice. See you guys.
Bye.